This was when I was working with Bob Roop, doing indie shows. Let's go back before I started driving guys up and all that stuff. And so I met with so Bob Roop, NWA had a TV taping at the Knight Center, James L. Knight Center building in Miami. So Bob calls Danny Miller, who's the local promoter, and says, hey, I got this guy, I run shows with him. Is there anything you need him to do? He'd like to get his foot in the business. He ring announces, blah, blah, blah. He says, yeah, send him down. So I met Danny Miller, go in there. Danny goes, oh, I'm sure you know, there's a lot of local guys in the dressing room. I'm sure you know them. You could go wait there, and if there's anything you could do to help, I'll let you know. I go in there, and I'm sitting in one of the dressing rooms with a lot of the local guys because it was a TV taping, so they were doing jobs, putting guys over. Ric Flair came up to me and lost it. Who are you? What are you doing here? And I'm trying to explain, I'm in the business local, and cut me a new one and threw me out of the building. Threw me out of the building. And I was like, that couldn't have gone any worse. I'm here to try to catch a break, and the guy who's the world champion at the time, one of the top wrestlers, the top wrestler other than Dusty in the company, basically just threw me out of the building. Funny follow-up to that story is the first time I went up and drove those guys to WCW, to Marietta, to the TV taping, Bob Roop was still an agent. And I told Bob Roop, Bob, I need to make sure that you're going to be there when I get there, so that you could go you could vouch for me if Ric Flair tries to throw me out again. Well, Bob had gotten into a minor car accident, and he was like really late. So I spent the entire afternoon hiding from Ric Flair, because I was sure that Ric Flair was going to Now, think about that. That was 6 months, 8 months earlier. He's traveling from town to town doing what Ric Flair does. He would have never remembered me. And, but I'm, in my mind, because I don't know all these things and I'm green as grass, I'm petrified that, I'm going to get thrown out of the building again. But I once told Rick the story, and he didn't remember any of it, and he apologized. And we're good friends, and I just recently saw Rick, and Rick's doing really well.
Did you ever get the chance to go out with him?
Oh, I drove for 2.5 years. I drove with him in Narn.
And you survived? I
survived. I rode with him in Narn.
What's it like being with him at a bar during those years?
It's like what he says it's like. It's like what you think it's like. I was just at a bar with him in Jacksonville at a Legends of Wrestling event, and he paid the whole tab. And he's learned it's time to go sooner. He's learned you stay an hour and then he still pays the tab, but then it's time to go. Let's go. I think his wife helps him with that. His wife helps keep him, because he doesn't want to get out of control anymore. But there are times he did. But no, I mean, look, do you have every Ric Flair story you've ever heard? I've seen it, or I've seen something like it, and he's what you see is what you get. He's 24/7 Ric Flair.
Do you have any in particular story of him at a bar that really stands out?
Well, there was one time in London where Rick is known for having a few drinks and pulling the pants down thing. And there was one time in London where I was with my wife. I had taken her to the trip, and so my wife could honestly say she's seen Ric Flair's what do you call it, package. Look, every night's an adventure. Was an adventure with Rick. I had the honor of traveling with Rick and Arn. I traveled with Arn a lot, actually, towards the end, last 4 or 5 years. Had the honor of traveling with Rick and Arn for about 2 years on and off. It was a blast. It was a ton of fun. It was a dream come true. And I can't even think of one particular story because every night was a story.